There are various reasons why June the 3rd is a vitally important date in the musical calendar.
Let's start with, around about this date, on June the 3rd, 1963, the Rolling Stones released their first record, which is, of course, Come On, the Chuck Berry song. And I'm reading right now a copy of the Record Mirror from that week, where the headline is Back to Britain's Big Beat Boys by Norman Jopling, who we had as a guest on.
We did.
Not long ago, didn't we? And there they are being introduced. And, of course, it's a classic reminder of the fact that in those early days, who did all the interviews? Brian. It was Brian to the fore all the time, wasn't it? Because it was Brian's group. So there they are being introduced to the readers of Record Mirror alongside Jerry Levine and the Avengers, of whom nothing was subsequently heard, was it, really?
It was, and there's a brilliant quote in that thing where it says, the R&B group, referring to it, says, the R&B group have the teeners queuing round the block, but this is not the fanatical R&B sound that the audiences want to hear. Though it may make the charts in some smallish way.
Which is kind of true, is what
it was.
But it did. But it's the start of their career, and so that's what 60 years ago.
60 years ago, and on the same day, June the 3rd, the Beatles were playing the Granada Cinema in Woolwich on a bill with Roy Orbison, and played how many dates in 1963?
Oh, I don't know. Go on.
I know the answer. They played 258 live dates in 1963, and I think made 2 LPs and 5 singles.
Do you know what songs they played at the Granada in Woolwich that evening? Because I do. I got the set.
Go on.
Some of the Guy. Do you want to know a secret? Love Me Do. From Me to You. Please, please me. I saw her standing there. And what did they finish with, Mark?
Twist and Shout, I'm guessing.
There you go.
There we go. Was that all the guy? That's all you got, really? That's a package, wasn't it? It was a package.
Well, they started that tour kind of down the bill to Roy Orbison, I think. And, Roy, and by the time the tour took place, they'd had 2 number ones. And so they were rather moved up the bill. So the bill was the Beatles, Jerry and the Pacemakers.
Were they on the bill too? Yeah, I know one of there's only 7 songs.
Roy Orbison, and then the Lost to History, Tony Marsh, the Terry Young Six, Erky Grant, Ian Crawford, David Macbeth, and Louise Corday.
You got your money's worth. Louise Corday. God bless her.
I remember Louise Corday. Her mother used to run a club. Okay.
No kidding.
Those are 2 of the things.
So June the 3rd, 1964, Ringo hospitalised after collapsing during a photo session for the Saturday Evening Post. This was the beginning of the tonsillitis thing. Whereby he eventually had the great tonsillitis scare of 64, where eventually he went and had his tonsils taken out, and Jimmy Nicol was wheeled in to take his place. It was something from which he never fully recovered, really, because for 8 days he was a Beatle, touring in Australia and Denmark and all over the place, and then just had to go back to normal life. And what did he get for his troubles, Dave? He got pretty handsomely a cheque for £500 and a gold watch.
And he said it was the worst thing he'd ever done in his life. He? Later on, he regretted it so badly. There's the man who achieved the dream of the world, which is temporarily being a member of the Beatles. And he said it was the worst decision he'd ever taken. It's really interesting.
He never got back to terra firma, did he?
Never
did his head in. Understandably, I felt sorry for him.
June the 3rd, 1939. This is just amazing. Ian Hunter was born. June the 3rd. So this is a few months before the declaration of the Second World War. The Prime Minister was Neville Chamberlain when Ian Hunter was born. And he's still making records to this day.
He is.
Absolutely extraordinary.
He was older than all the Beatles and all the Stones, wasn't he? Was he older than Bill Wyman? Possibly, I don't know. Maybe born the same year. The point is, he was old, wasn't he? He seemed fantastic. He had his first success when he was 33, I think, which now doesn't seem so at all, actually.
I was amazed to read that he was a member of Morton Fraser's harmonica gang. Do you ever remember Morton Fraser?
No, I don't. Do you remember them?
I do. They were a staple of kind of bottom of the bill of TV variety shows. They were a bunch of 5 young chaps who all had harmonicas of various different sizes and played kind of novelty numbers in a rather energetic fashion. I never realized Ian Hunter was a member of of that particular lineup.
And then the Apex Rhythm and Blues Stars, wasn't it? I think the Rhythm and Blues All Stars. Yeah,
he's still here to this day, still making records to this day. On June the 3rd, 1970, Ray Davies crossed the Atlantic for why?
Lola had come out, was controversial because it was about somebody who apparently had a sex change. But the BBC found another controversy, which is they mentioned the words Coca-Cola in their product placement.
They didn't like this.
They didn't like it. They said, we won't play it. It's got the word Coca-Cola in it. So the Kinks were on tour in America, and he flew back, and I think flew to England, re-recorded the two words Coca-Cola to Cherry Cola, got on a plane, flew back again, and rejoined the tour in America, just to change two words.
See, in some accounts, he didn't do it right the first time, so had to go back and do it again, which is even more extraordinary.
Can that be true? That's astonishing.
It's in some accounts. So,
how could you get two words wrong?
I don't know.
But a 6,000-mile round trip, it's just absolutely breathtaking to think that people did things like that.
Yeah,
but they did.
Yeah. So, and also on June the 3rd, bring it up to date, this year, what's happening on June the 3rd this year, Mark?
This year, Word in Your Park is returning. We've had two of them in the wonderful auditorium at Opera Holland Park in West London, and we're having another one this year, featuring, record stalls and booksellers and refreshing cold drinks, and also Leslie Ann Jones talking about 60 years of the Rolling Stones and her book about them.
Yeah. We got John Higgs talking about the Beatles, James Bond, and the British Psyche.
Bob Stanley doing the extraordinary story of the Bee Gees.
And our old friend Clare Grogan talking about 40 years of being Clare Grogan. So that's Word in the Park, June the 3rd this year in Holland Park. Details below. Be there.